started out this week with 2 people in trouble. They were able to pull it out, but we also have 2 people, Mr. Hazelton and Mr. Kent, that are now on academic probation with 20 weeks left to go in the academy. And that's definitely between a rock and a hard place. So it's only going to get harder, and for them to already be on academic probation, the outlook does not look good. Historically, whenever we have someone that's on academic probation this early in the academy, they normally don't graduate.
Mr. Hazelton failed the penal code exam, and that was his 3rd major exam that he failed. And according to the academy rules, he cannot continue in the academy, so he's going to resign.
Today we did our final for the penal code, and I came up short. We studied last night. A group of us studied last night, and half of us did well, and half of us didn't do well. So I'm not quite sure what the disconnect was, whether it was reading too much into the questions, not reading enough into the questions.
And with him being in the military for so long and not being in a school setting, that may have been a disadvantage for him.
It just kind of all hit me all at one time, and there's a lot to absorb. I mean, it's been 5 weeks, and there's a lot of information, and even our top students are, they're frazzled.
The thing about Mr. Hazelton is, if I was in a firefight, I'd want him with me. So hopefully maybe he'll use this as an opportunity to further his education outside the academy and then maybe apply again.
Oh, I think a lot of people, when they take the first few quizzes, they just use that as a gauge and say, all right, yeah, it's not too, I'm doing all right with that, whatever. Use it as a gauge, but figure out where the disconnects are at and get them fixed early. If you get them fixed early, then you should be able to recover without a problem. Try to get a little bit of a background before you get here. If you got an opportunity to take some classes, some college courses or whatever, try to knock out the penal code and some of the other stuff. I'm gonna follow up, take some classes, and definitely probably penal code, some other classes, and then reapply.
Lost Mr. Hazelton today. He's a good man. He's AJ squared away. But we all have our Achilles tendon. We all have our weaknesses. Okay? And he plans on coming back, and I hope he does try. All right, but that should tell you appearances aren't everything. All right, study, study, study. Okay? Very important. It's high stress time. Welcome to Logan Police Academy.
He was our best recruit. He was our best man. He was most prepared for the job. Not upset, but very depressed, because he was one I'd really looked to for leadership, and he was a good friend.
I think once he goes and he gets more prepared academically, and if he comes back, he'll make an amazing officer, but everyone's really upset that he left.
It's horrible. I hate that he's gone. He's a 2 Bronze Star winner. I mean, that's just insane, and he's a great guy.
He was a strong leader, very strong leader, probably one of the strongest for the first week of an academy that I've seen. And even when he wasn't the class leader, he was an informal leader that was, a force to be reckoned with. His class is going to miss him. He took care of his class. He helped out, other class leaders and gave him, some information or tips from his experience, not only as being class leader here, but his 20+ years in the military. Guy worked hard, never made an excuse for anything that went wrong, accept responsibility, had the utmost character, and even when he left today, showed nothing but, dignity, respect, and I truly hope that he applies again and comes back to the process. I would definitely recommend, he be given another chance. I think he's going to try to take some classes this upcoming fall to work on just his study skills. You've been in the military for 20 years, and you get acclimated to a certain way of life, and then you come back into a college level academic environment. Sometimes it's hard to transition, and if you transition too late, you're behind the power curve, and his back was up against a wall, and I think he did a really good job. It's just a shame to have lost him.
Not upset, but very depressed, because he was one I'd really looked to for leadership, and he was a good friend.